everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another TVOS production. Today we will be going over the AP Top 25 poll for Week 2 that was just released today at 2 p.m. And then we will be comparing it to the TVOS Top 25 poll that was released yesterday. Once again, guys, I thank you guys for tuning in to today's video. I ask you guys to like, subscribe, and comment and share, as it will help me get the videos out there. So let's go ahead and hop into it. The AP Top 25 poll and the TVOS Top 25 poll had Ohio State at the 1 and Penn State at 2. I put Ohio State at 1, about like everybody else did. They beat Texas, and they were already at the 3, so it was kind of obvious that they were going to be there at that 1, and Penn State is going to stay there at the 2. And then now we're going to jump into the number 1 difference between these two top rankings. If you haven't already, if you go into my channel and hit shorts and go to the TVOS Top 25 speed rankings, you can see my rankings. But if you just want to go ahead and stay into this video, you can do that, because we'll just also be going over my rankings. We were supposed to have a long form video, a 20-minute video on my rankings, but I felt like the speed rankings was going to be a lot more easier to not only edit, but to reach a broader audience through on shorts, which it did. So the next probably long form video will be you know what, the next long form video will most likely be on a Thursday or a Friday, just to give you guys a heads up. That should be up, but today we are releasing this video since the AP Top 25 polls have been released. So me and the AP Top 25 polls had Ohio State at the 1, Penn State at the 2. So we have those matching, and then like how I said, our 3 and 4 are flipped. The Top 25 AP poll has LSU at the 3 after beating number 4 Clemson, and Georgia at the 4. I personally had Georgia at the 3 and LSU at the 4, just because LSU was ranked 9 and they beat the 4 team. So yes, that's a really big win, and looking back at it, I mean, you could flip Georgia and LSU, I do not care. If you were to show me that I had LSU at the 3 and Georgia at the 4, I wouldn't even realize. I personally think Georgia should have been at the 3, because it's Georgia, and LSU, even though they went into Clemson and won that game, I had them at the 4, but it does not matter to me that they are right there at the 3. Jumping in, they have another big difference between me and the AP poll. They have Miami at the 5, Oregon at the 6. I have Oregon at the 5 and Texas at the 6. So they have Oregon at the 6 and Miami at the 5. Once again, I have Oregon at the 5 and Texas at the 6, Miami down at the 7. So they are not going to do much with Oregon, and they're actually going to drop down Texas a little further than what I thought they should have been. I thought they should have been right there at that 6. They were the number 1 team, lost to the number 3 team. And this is the main reason why I think they should have been there at the 6. And instead of Miami being up that high. First of all, Miami, yes, they did ball out against number 6 ranked Notre Dame. They played really well, but Texas, who was ranked number 1, they have Arch Manning, they have that defense that played relatively well against that Ohio State team. I think Texas, they went into the horseshoe, they went into Columbus, and they played and only lost by a touchdown. So I don't think that Texas as a team is worse than Miami. I think right now in this stage, they're not as good as Oregon. Yes, Oregon once again did not play a ranked school, but I mean, they were already at the, I don't know where they were ranked previously. I'm sorry, I don't have those rankings up right now. I'm sorry, Oregon was ranked at the 7, so I think they should have moved up to 5 along with all of that instead of just moving up to the 6. But the big shocker that I saw in the AP Top 25 poll was moving Miami up to the 5. I had Miami sitting there at the 7. Once again, it's just like a puzzle that has many pieces that can go into different spots. Is how me and the AP Top 25 poll look right now. they have Miami up. I have Miami down. But Clemson and Notre Dame both share that 8 and 9, so that's pretty close. And then let's hop into the rest. They put South Carolina at the 10, Illinois at the 11, Arizona State at the 12. I had Illinois at the 10, Arizona State at the 11, South Carolina at the 12. And I think this is my mistake when I did make the rankings. I did not count the South Carolina win against Virginia Tech, and that's what the AP poll did. I looked at the overall score, the stats. I wasn't really paying attention for who they played against in this section. Now, for the rest of it, above and below, I did pay attention to who they played against. I did count, their performance against those teams and kind of even it out based on how good that team was compared to how good they did. So, for an example, Florida, they won by a lot, but it was against a team that I didn't even know existed until Saturday. So, I am sorry for that. South Carolina is at the 10 on the AP poll. I had them at the 12. They beat 24-11 against the Virginia Tech Hokies. And like how I said, these are all flipped. They have Illinois at the 11. I have them at the 10. Arizona State at the 12. I had them at 11. South Carolina at the 10. I had them at 12. Jumping into the next ones. The AP Top 25 poll had Florida State, and Michigan at the 13, 14, 15. Now, this is the number one shocker and the number one difference between myself, the TVOS Top 25 poll, and the AP Top 25 poll. They heavily, when I say heavily, I mean heavily, they heavily took that win against 8th-ranked Alabama and moved them up based on that. Now, yes, I believe that win, they did great against 8 Alabama. That win should move a team up a lot, right? But I don't think that Florida State deserves to be at that 14 spot yet. Now, give them a couple more weeks. I think, yes, they deserve to. But if we're taking account of Notre Dame's loss to Northern Illinois last season, Northern Illinois wasn't ranked 14 after beating Notre Dame, right? And that's how I look at it. Yes, Florida State, they are a good program. I mean, 2 years ago, they went undefeated and were ranked number 5. But you got to take account that Florida State went 2-10 last season, and they weren't in the top 25. And people didn't think they were going to do the best this season due to last season's performance. So I think you're really following the hype train of them beating Alabama and moving them up so much when Northern Illinois did the same thing last season, week 1, or it might have been week 2, week 3, I'm sorry. They beat Notre Dame, a high-ranked team, and they weren't in the top 25 either because previous records and that being that team. So yes, I do think Florida State should be ranked, but I don't think yet that Florida State has proved to be a top 15 team. And like how I said with the whole Notre Dame thing, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, but Northern Illinois was not ranked above Notre Dame. I still think Alabama, it was a fluke. Alabama fluked their first game of the season. I don't think they should be ranked below Florida State yet. I had them really close on my rankings. I had Alabama at the 20, or Alabama at the 21, and Florida State at the 24 in my rankings. But I don't think, like how I said, Florida State should be that high. But other than that, Michigan at the 13, they had them at the 15, and I had Florida at the 14. They had them at the 13. We'll keep going on into my rankings according to theirs. So we did 13, 14, 15. And then, like I said, at 15, I had SMU. They are ranked 17. So let's go 16 through 18 on their rankings. They had Iowa State, SMU, and Oklahoma through their 16 and 18. I had Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss. So their 16 is Iowa State. I had Iowa State at the 19. Now, I was, in my opinion, one of the only people that I've seen that accounted Iowa State against Kansas State. And I agree that they should be higher because people are just looking at their win on Saturday and not looking at their win on the Saturday previous, because that should be counted to the record. Iowa State is a 2-0 football program that beat 17-ranked Kansas State. Now, Iowa State is ranked 16 on the AP Top 25 poll. I have Iowa State at my 19. This is because we're still counting these quality wins, right? But I'm also counting these football programs in general. I don't think Iowa State can beat a team like Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama. Now, these rankings are based on their wins, but also you got to account Iowa State should not be higher than Oklahoma or Ole Miss. So that's why I had Iowa State right there at my 19, and they have them at their 16. They had SMU at their 17. I had SMU at my 15, and they have Oklahoma at their 18. I had Oklahoma at my 16. All right, let's jump into the 19 through 21. 19, I had Iowa State, like how I said. They had Texas A&M. I had A&M at my 17. They had Ole Miss at the 20. I had Ole Miss at my 18. They had Alabama at the 21. That's where I had Alabama as well. I had Alabama at the 21, right below Indiana and right above Texas Tech at the 22. Now, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I did get the Alabama spot correct, and I do acknowledge that. But I think the way that they have Alabama at the 21 on their poll is a lot different than where I have Alabama at 21 on my poll. And you might ask, TVOS, Isaiah, what does that even mean? They're ranked at the exact same spot. But you got to look at the teams that I have ranked above Alabama and the teams I have below Alabama. I have Florida State below Alabama. And that's the main thing, I have Florida State below Alabama still. I still think Alabama is a quality football team. But the way that they have Alabama ranked on here looks like they aren't a quality football team, right? They have all these other schools above them, right? And they have the bad schools below them in a way. I don't know how to say it, but the way that me in the AP Top 25 poll have Alabama is a lot different in the sense of Florida State. So yeah, at 22 through 25, we'll go ahead and do that. At the 22, they had Tennessee. I had Tennessee at my 23. They had Indiana at the 23. I had Indiana at my 20. They had Texas Tech at the 24. I had Florida State at the 24. At the 25, me and AP poll finally agree on something. We have Utah in there. So, those are our rankings compared, ladies and gentlemen. That was basically the analysis of the AP Top 25 poll. I will quickly go over them once again. Let's go into theirs. We'll go through the AP Top 25 poll real fast and then into my poll. Here we go. Ohio State 1, Penn State 2, LSU 3, Georgia 4, Miami 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Clemson 8, Notre Dame 9, South Carolina 10, Illinois 11, Arizona State 12, Florida 13, Florida State 14, Michigan 15, Iowa State 16, SMU 17, Oklahoma 18, Texas A&M 19, Ole Miss 20, Alabama 21, Tennessee 22, Indiana 23, Texas Tech 24, and Utah 25. Those are their rankings, and mine were Ohio State 1, Penn State 2, Georgia 3, LSU 4, Oregon 5, Texas 6, Miami 7, Clemson 8, Notre Dame 9, 10 Illinois, 11 Arizona State, 12 South Carolina, 13 Michigan, 14 Florida, 15 SMU, 16 Oklahoma, 17 Texas A&M, 18 Ole Miss, 19 Iowa State, 20 Indiana, 21 Alabama, 22 Texas Tech, 23 Tennessee, 24 Florida State, and 25 Utah. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you guys for tuning into today's video. Like how I said, there will be probably some more content posted by Friday, I hope, going over the NFL games. You know what? We'll try to get 2 videos out by Friday. I'm going to try to predict all the Week 1 NFL game outcomes, and then we'll go over the NFL season starting up, and we'll try to predict some of the college football, games coming up as well. So a whole bunch of predictions, a whole bunch of news.